A former New England textile manufacturing site was found to have elevated levels of PFAS and chlorinated solvent impacts exceeding state regulations.
It's a really interesting site. It's an historical industrial site, and it has a combination of contaminants. It includes both chlorinated solvents and PFAS. There's some very elevated concentrations of chlorinated solvents in one area, and then we have some PFAS mixed with chlorinated solvents a little bit down gradient.
GZA, a leading environmental consulting firm, was hired by the responsible party to develop a viable remedy to address the contaminants of concern.
We've been addressing a chlorinated solvent issue for most of the time that we've been working on the project. More recently, PFAS has been discovered. In 2018 was when we first identified that contaminant here.
Responding to the changes in PFAS regulations and reporting, the responsible party then asked GZA to evaluate potential options to treat the PFAS impacts.
Cost was considered when we selected the PlumeStop injection for PFAS and the zero-valent iron injection, of course.
Additionally, the joint remediation team collaborated to effectively characterize the site using new advanced FluxTracers that help to fine-tune the application of the PlumeStop and S-MicroZVI to ensure the appropriate dosing and location of the injections were strategically placed to optimize performance.
I think for any site, characterization is extremely important. Here we've done extensive soil sampling and groundwater sampling. Also have used a MIPS program to be able to better understand the distribution of TCE in the subsurface. PFAS here is something that we're still investigating.
So we've developed a design to address both elevated VOCs and also being able to treat and remediate to very low levels, the PFAS contamination.
After evaluating viable options to address the commingled PFAS CVOC impacts, the team worked with REGENESIS to develop an innovative remedial design incorporating multiple permeable reactive barriers and placed in situ using PlumeStop colloidal activated carbon and S-MicroZVI amendments. The active site is adjacent to a busy manufacturing operation.
Part of that has to do with the location of the source area, which is within an active traffic way, truck traffic. Also the presence of subsurface utilities. The cost to replace or reroute would have been significant.
We have 6 different areas, and there's 2 PlumeStop and S-MicroZVI barriers. And we're going down to 10 to 20 feet, and we're treating chlorinated volatile organic compounds and PFAS. We are pulling cores, and we are doing 2 piezometers to confirm distribution.
Our objective here is to reduce concentrations of the chlorinated solvents, try to get those into 90+% reduction. And then with the PFAS, again, our objective is to have very significant reduction, but at that point we're trying to get into the part per trillion levels.
In addition, REGENESIS utilized its PlumeForce proprietary modeling software, which can predict the longevity of the treatment and can offer a Plume Shield warranty for the project up to 30 years.
The location of the barrier currently is one where we're confident it's going to intercept probably the majority of the mass of PFAS.
PlumeStop is a sustainable and proven in-situ solution to address PFAS risk and is significantly more cost-effective than alternative treatment options.
This site was a bit complicated. We needed to make some adjustments to ensure that we're getting the delivery that we needed. And so that's where communication's really important, again, with our consultant partners, to ensure that we can make changes in the field at that time and check it to make sure we're getting the delivery. And that was certainly the case here, that we found some areas that we weren't getting the response we needed, so we had to make some adjustment in where injections took place and how they were applied.
PlumeStop is composed of micron-sized particles of activated carbon suspended in water using organic polymer dispersion chemistry. Once in the subsurface, it behaves as a colloidal biomatrix, binding to the aquifer matrix, rapidly removing PFAS from groundwater.
There's a lot of ice, snow, We're proactively laying down rock salt so everybody has a good footing.
We want to make sure that it's not going to freeze up, and you've got things like ice melt and all, and keeping things clear, and constantly checking on the conditions to ensure that our crews and the folks from GZA and everybody is kept safe and we don't have any incidents.
We've had a good experience so far working with the REGENESIS team. Looks like we're going to be good.
This New England area is a very, very beautiful area, and it is very gratifying to leave this in a better condition.
To date, PlumeStop has been successfully applied on over 40 sites globally to address PFAS risk. For more information on how REGENESIS's technologies, including PlumeStop and S-MicroZVI, can be effectively applied to mitigate and eliminate the risk of PFAS and chlorinated solvent contaminants sustainably and cost-effectively, visit www.regenesis.com.